What is up, people? Thank you for joining me live today as we have a little fun today. Have a guest coming in, and Michael Brumback's already here. I was so hoping you were going to be here today. That's awesome. Today, we were going to have special guest, Jesse Flood. I'll bring him in here real quick. Sorry we're a little late here. We had a little technical issues, but we're here now. Can you hear me, Jesse? I'm guessing that's a no. I'm going to pull him off while he figures this out. We are going to have a good show today. I've been pretty excited about this. Jesse Flood is the pastor of Bright Point Church, which is in Marklettville, Indiana. And I fill in on drums there once in a while. And I was playing, actually, he might be ready to go. Hey, Jesse, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm guessing that's still a no. See, the problem is Jesse's using a Mac. So anyway, we'll pull him back off. Sorry, sometimes technical stuff doesn't work very well. Anyway, I play drums at his church sometimes. And a couple weeks ago, they've been pre-recording their services and then playing them on Sunday morning. And so a couple of weeks ago, we were recording, and while we were waiting for some stuff to happen, Jesse and I were just sitting there talking, and we just got into this weird discussion about like 80s rock music and who we like, and it was just a really good discussion. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my goodness, you should be on my live show. We should talk about this there, because we disagree on a lot of things. I'll just say, all right, Jesse, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? I'm going to shoot him a quick text here real quick.
I think I am on now, if you can hear me.
Can you hear me? Hello? My best Mrs. Doubtfire. All right, I don't think you can hear me still.
That's good.
Can you hear me?
I can't see or hear you.
Oh, that's not good. All right, we'll go just me for now again. We'll see if we can figure that out. Anyway, so we were talking about our favorite like 80s rock people, and like I said, we disagree greatly. And my favorites he doesn't like, and his favorites I'm not very fond of either. So are you there, Jesse? Well, all right. Well, this is a learning process. He just dropped off. Hopefully he'll try to connect back up. So this is the problem when using Mac. You know, it's supposedly it just works. But this is not just working. Hey, there you are. Can you see me or hear me now?
Yep, I sure can.
Hey, victory. Woohoo!
Only took 10 minutes.
That's all right. Well, I know how technologically challenged you Mac people are, so.
Oh, you know us.
So anyways, I was explaining to everyone that this started because, you know, I was playing drums for your church a couple weeks ago, and kind of in between stuff, we just got to talking. I don't even know how we started talking about it, but we were talking about 80s music and kind of who our favorites were, and we had some pretty good disagreements, and I thought this would be a good discussion to have on our show. And plus, I know at least a few of the people who have been watching this pretty regularly also really like 80s music, and one of those was Michael Brumback, who popped on right away, and so I'm really excited he's here.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's going to have some comments on this too. So we didn't, because of our technical issues, we didn't really have a chance to chat before. So I don't know if you brought your own top 5 list, or you just want to comment on mine or how you want to handle that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's either one. Either one's good for me, brother. I'll tell you. Obviously, I know one of your top five. It obviously isn't on my list, but
Well, if you want to chime in with your own list, that would be perfect. I'd really like that.
all right, brother, go ahead. You
All
start.
right, I'm gonna start off top number 5. Now, some of these, and this is kind of one of the first two. They're people that I admire their talent, but not necessarily was a big fan of the band.
Right.
So my first one is Vince Neil from Motley Crue. I always thought he had a really good voice. I like quite a few of their songs, but I wasn't like a huge fan. What do you think? What do you think about Vince Neil?
Definitely in my top 2, probably.
Oh, really? Top 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top three, just because I'm a huge Motley Crue fan. I mean, that's one of my top bands.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah, I love Motley Crue. I think Vince Neil, and I mean, in all, that whole band, with Nikki Sixx and Mick Mars and Tommy Lee, even though as crazy as that idiot can get sometimes, it's like
Right.
they were a great band, and they had some obvious tragedies. Well, I mean, they brought out that show just not too long ago. Was it last year or whatever, about their whole, with the guy dying in the car wreck and all that. But I mean, they were a great band in my opinion. I loved listening to them play. Mick Mars and Nikki Sixx together. I mean, I think those two. You got the old man and the young kid. They were they were incredible. But yeah, I think he's one of my top 5 without a doubt.
Awesome. So who would your number 5 be?
Who would my number 5 be? Well, can I go lower than 5? No, I'm kidding. My number 5, I guess to me, my number 5 would be, well, I don't know. I'm sitting here racking my brain because I got my top 3. I think I would agree with that. I would agree with Vince being my number 5. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Trent Burton says yes, Motley.
Yeah.
So he
Motley
agrees with
Crue.
us.
I tell you, you can't go wrong with Motley Crue, in my opinion.
What's your favorite album of theirs?
Oh, probably the Dr. Feelgood. It was one of my favorite ones.
Me too.
Unfortunately, I remember doing, my that was during my drug phase, and that poster was pretty cool in some areas.
Yeah, that's my favorite too. That's my favorite album of theirs for sure.
Yeah. Now,
right.
Don't get me wrong. Their solo, their very first one wasn't. I think it was just self-titled. I believe Motley Crue. But that was a great album too, in my opinion. So.
Michael Brumback says he loves Crue, but Vince was just okay in his prime. He's horrible now. Listen to them live. Actually, I kind of agree with that. I have listened. I have heard some recent stuff, and he's pretty rough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I agree with that.
Yeah,
very
for
much.
sure. All right, number 4. This is one I really don't. I'm not a fan of this guy or the band at all, but I have always been so amazed with his voice. And that is Ronnie James Dio from Dio.
Oh, yeah.
That dude has a voice, man.
Yeah.
And
Ronnie James is number 2, 3 in my opinion. I love Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a big fan of the band. I don't dislike them. It's just a band I never really got into much. But man, every time I hear his voice, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, that is definitely not my number 4. He's a lot higher in my opinion. Ronnie James Dio, especially in Dio, seemed to me like he was on a level that I don't think had been there for a while, because he was still coming in from the that 70s.
Right.
Late 70s era, and he was really coming on strong at that point. It seemed like in the hair band era, or in what you maybe call arena rock, I guess, in that phase, wouldn't it be? Kind of, I mean, I'm guessing. Yeah. But no, I think that he's probably he's probably my number 3.
Number 3. Do you want to give us a
My
different number?
4. Huh?
You want to give us a different number 4 then?
Yeah, I would say probably my number 4 if I had to. Because see, I got my 2 and my number 1, so 3 Ronnie. I don't know, probably. Man, see, you're really putting me on the spot, Rick, because you mentioned Ronnie James Dio, and I didn't even think about him because I had Sebastian Bach, I think, up there about 3. And, Joe Elliott, probably 4.
Oh, man, you know what? I put Joe Elliott on and off this list about 4 times. I kept putting him on and then taking him off and putting him on and taking him off. And I just,
Yeah.
because I had a hard time. I called Def Leppard my gateway drug.
Yeah.
I listened to when I was young, I just listened to like pop stuff. And he would say, and well, anyway, and all of a sudden I started with the Hysteria album.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated by, oh my gosh, what's their drummer's name? I know, I'll think of it in a minute. I'm terrible with names.
Isn't that awful for drummers and can't remember the Def Leppard drumming?
I know.
That's not good.
But playing with one arm, and I was fascinated by the technology they built around him because I'm a geek person too, and that just kind of got me to start really moving away from pop and more into rock. So I called Def Leppard kind of my gateway drug into rock, and I just wasn't sure if Joe Elliott was a Rick Allen. Thank you, Paul Miller. Oh, I
there you
couldn't
go,
think of his name. His name's even the same as mine, man. I gotta catch up on some of these comments here. Paul Miller said Dio's the man, loved his work, and that era of Black Sabbath was also great. I did think he was perfect pick for Black Sabbath.
Yeah. I don't see the comments. That's not cool. Oh,
I know it's hard. That's why I'm trying to read them too, so you see them too, or hear them anyway. Michael Brumback said solid pick. Ronnie was great, operatic, and then Trent Burton, when we talked about Def Leppard, said, "Me too. Def Leppard was my first band. Once I got to branch away from the country, my parents listened to country. Country's about the.
We're not even going there, are we?
Are we
going? I mean, is that a music? Is there a thing?
Country's not even. I like old country, like old back in the day.
Yeah.
Paul Miller said, "I'm going to start calling you Rick Allen Brown."
Old back in the day, like you talking about like Hank Williams, like original, or are you talking junior?
I love Willie Nelson. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I like Willie. Yeah. Willie's cool.
Hey Doug. My friend Doug just popped in. Doug's one of my best friends growing up. We were like one of the.
I'll just be honest.
3 amigos.
I mean, let's be real. I mean, country music's nothing what rock is. So, I mean, I don't like. I like a little bit of Garth Brooks. Yeah,
but like 2 songs, and that's pretty much. Any other country that's been made after like 1982, I have no use for.
Yeah,
I love me some old Willie, some old Waylon Jennings, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll listen to Waylon Jennings a little bit. I was more of the Hank Williams, and I liked a lot of the bluegrassy style with some banjo and that.
I love bluegrass. I love.
Yeah,
bluegrass.
Just had a little more rhythm to it, and us drummers. We're not that talented anyway, so we got to try to surround ourselves with talent.
Paul Miller said that country music's best played in reverse.
I love it.
All right.
Do you hear anything? See, rock, you could hear something if you played it in reverse. Isn't that right? At least you got something both ways.
All right, number 3, David Lee Roth, Van Halen. I know you have some opinions about this. I know. I knew it was coming. There's two I knew
David
that were
Lee
going to
Roth.
elicit there were two I knew that were going to elicit a response from you, and this is one of the two.
I already know the one, brother.
I know.
That one, yeah,
Wait,
that one, David Lee Roth. There's no way I would ever choose David Lee Roth over the Red Rocker.
you probably would.
One,
You
uh,
probably wouldn't put him in the top 20, would you?
no, not even a chance.
So what?
I,
So what problem do you have with David Lee Roth?
I mean, David Lee Roth was. I mean, he was a really good singer. To be honest with you, he really does have a great vocal talent. The guy's amazing. I would love to. I mean, I loved listening to the guy. But yeah, so you get your dog, truck, and wife back. Amen. Yeah, it all comes back when you play it reverse, brother.
Oh, you can see the comments now?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I
That
thought
is
you
cool.
couldn't at first.
No, but David Lee Roth to me was it was almost like he had to have a certain style of music to even be able to sing properly. Sammy to me was just such a great singer. He's got such a range. I mean, that's the Red Rocker. I don't know. I was just a huge Red Rocker fan over David Lee Roth. Oh, look, look, Sammy's the best.
See,
all right, Michael.
now here's. I like Sammy Hagar. I like Van Halen. I don't like Sammy Hagar and Van Halen. It just
Van
changed.
Hagar, baby.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know why. There's some good songs I like.
Here's the thing. Look at it now, Rick. Though, look right now. When you look, I just saw an interview not too long ago with Sammy and I can't remember who was interviewing him, but they said something like he's still playing music, and he just put out an album not too long ago. I think it was just the beginning of 19 or the end of 19, and he's still making hits. I mean, yeah, one top 10 or top 20 record. Van Halen, where the heck are they? I mean, I don't know. And I love Van Halen. You know me. I'm a big, huge Van Halen fan.
Right.
Diamond Dave was a great performer, great entertainer. Sammy still, I think, is the lead in that. But my number was that number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 3 is, I already told you.
I forget. Who'd you say? I forget.
Ronnie James.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. We said that already.
Yeah.
I have
Ronnie
ADHD,
James
man.
Dio.
I can't remember that far back.
but my number 3 before you mentioned Ronnie James Dio was Kip Winger. I'm a huge Kip Winger fan. I think Kip Winger to me is an excellent vocalist. And he would have been the one I would have probably put as number 3 before you mentioned Ronnie James. Gosh, my kids love Ronnie James Dio, brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Paul Miller, I'm going to read this comment because it cuts off on the screen. It says, I see merits in both. Davey had the fire and energy, at least in the studio, if the brothers did coming out of the gate. When things were more developed, etc., then Hagar complimented that nicely, too. I was young when they broke big, so I wasn't really deeply invested in either. See, I think that's part of it. I was really into Van Halen in the early days, so that's why I think it's kind of like a, I don't know. I get stuck in my ways sometimes too much, especially when it comes to music. One of my friends, he used to always joke that basically my musical taste, like the development arrested in like 1992.
I'm gonna stop you, Michael. Number 1. That's my number 1. Right there, brother.
How do you say that name? I don't even know it.
Moljinko is what I've always said. I can't pronounce his last name.
I didn't know.
But that is by far, that's my number 1. I was waiting to get there. And of course, Michael's got to ruin my thunder there. But no, I agree with you on the whole thing because, I mean, how old are you again, brother?
Me, I'm 45.
Yeah, so I'm just a few years older than you. And I was like one of the biggest. I love Van Halen. Good gosh, did I love Van Halen. And in fact, I've told the story 100 times that my dad is a pastor and I'm a pastor now. I remember the very first cassette tape I bought was Van Halen, Running with the Devil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I borrowed his truck to drive to, I think it was Sam Goody, or I can't remember the name of the actual record store at the time. I drove all the way out to Indianapolis to buy this tape, this
Was it
cassette tape.
Musicland?
No, it was on
Okay.
Post Road. I can't
Oh, I don't
remember the
know.
name. And so I drove out there, and I remember I bought the tape. I drove home. I got back to the farm. We lived on a farm, and my dad said, "Hey, come out of the house." Said, "Hey, move over. We need to go check on the cows." And so he got in the truck, fired it back up, and no joke, it started out with, I mean, it was right on the chorus, Running with the Devil, and he hit the eject button and tossed the tape right out the window and says, "You're not listening to that devil music in my truck." I just bought that.
That's great.
I'm with you. At first, I was like, "There's no way this is going to work." Even though I was a huge Sammy Hagar fan, I thought, "Oh, this is going to bomb," you know. And but then I guess it's because I was a huge, Red Rocker fan that it just made it easy for me to.
Well, I Can't Drive 55, 1, 2, 3 Luck Box. I mean, that's some good stuff.
Well, and I'm a huge Chickenfoot fan because, I mean, how can you not like Chickenfoot when you got like all those incredible, incredible artists playing? I mean, they got the Red Hot Chili Peppers guy. I can't remember his name, the drummer.
Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah, Anthony Kiedis. No, that's the.
No, you're talking about the
drummer.
Oh, I can't think of his name, but I know it. He's the guy that looks like Will Ferrell.
Yeah, him and Will Ferrell do that one on
Chad Smith.
Chad Smith. That's
yeah.
it. And,
hey, I remember the name. Hold on, I gotta write that. I gotta write that down. Hold on a second. I remember the name.
But yeah, I mean, I was a huge Chickenfoot fan because you got all these guys playing and just incredible. I mean, what they had what's his name, the guitar player that's like, he's bald headed. I can't think. He just all he does is play guitar, kind of like a Steve Vai, where they just do music all the time. They don't actually have a band. I can't remember his name, but I mean, he was playing guitar for Sammy. I can't even remember his name either off the top of my head. It's right around that same time that.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
Steve Vai was playing, and regardless. Yeah. Okay, we on number 2 then?
All right, number 2. My number 2 is Bret Michaels, Poison.
I have to give you credit, bud. Bret Michaels, he is really good. I would give I would put Bret Michaels pretty high. He'd be in my top 10 for sure. Yeah, I like Bret Michaels. I think he's pretty incredible.
Eric Jimenez says Joe Satriani.
Joe Satriani, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I know who you're talking about
Skinny,
now.
ball-headed fella.
Yeah.
That's all I could think of. Bret Michaels, yeah, dude, with Poison. That was my wife's favorite band growing up. So, we dated since she was 13 years old, and we're still married 27 years later. And she loved Poison, and we always listened to it. And so, yeah, I got a great appreciation for them. I would say, it wasn't that I didn't like his vocals. It was more that I wasn't really into their style as much. They weren't as heavy as what I liked.
Yeah. See, now, just like I said that Def Leppard was my gateway band, Poison was like my next step band. Like I went,
I can agree.
And this kind of gets deeper into like some personal things and some theology even, and long story. We'll have to get into that some other time. But basically, I moved to Texas for a year and I came back, and it had a long story of stuff that happened there. And when I came back, I really kind of had this really bad taste in my mouth about religion, which like I said, that's a long story we can talk about some other time. But
sure.
And then the very first album, like I literally turned on the TV and there's a Poison video on, and I went out that day and bought that. Well, it was a cassette at the time because I'm old.
Yeah.
I bought that cassette and I played the snot out of that cassette. And that was what kind of, that pushed me a little farther down the path towards the harder stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, to me, I was already on the path. I was already there where I was doing, I was more into the headed towards Metallica and getting into some really about as heavy as I could possibly get into at
See,
that point.
that came later for me. That
Yeah,
I didn't really get into
passed.
Metallica until the Black Album,
Oh,
and
really?
then kind of went like, hey, this is pretty good, and then went back and listened to their older stuff,
Yeah.
and
That
Justice
kind
for All ended
that,
up being my favorite album from them.
right. Well, mine too. I think that's exactly my favorite album. And I'll tell you, in that realm of rock, to me, he was one of the best lead singers out there with that style of music because some of these guys were way too gravelly. You couldn't understand a
Yeah,
daggone word they were saying. With him, you could understand everything, and I loved it. So, what's that? Back with CDs had cardboard long. Oh yeah, I do remember those. I do. I think I remember buying a Pink Floyd album that had a big old long box with it in a CD. I think it's one of my first CDs I ever bought. Was
okay.
yeah, I forgot about that. That's awesome. Yeah, Brett was good. Brett was good, but again, not my top number two. My number two is Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. To
See,
me,
he was another one that was on then off and on then off, and ended up not making the cut for me.
really.
And yeah, I like his voice. I appreciate his talent. Just never was a big Skid Row fan. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and see that's the thing. Some people weren't, but his vocals, just as a lead singer, I don't know. That was my number two. He's incredible. I just think he was. Gosh, I just loved hearing him sing and the vocal range. I'll tell you another one that I couldn't think of his name off the top of my head just now. And I'm sitting here racking my brain. But do you remember the guy from L.A. Guns?
Oh
I cannot remember his name for the life of me.
no, I
But
can't
that guy
either.
was an incredible lead singer. Gosh, I cannot remember his name. They were not as big a band. Thank you, Michael, number two for Sebastian as well. I think I like this Michael guy. So
He's a good dude.
yeah. Hopefully he doesn't have that number one that you have, because then I will have to just disown him. But
um,
Tracy Guns, that's right. Tracy Guns,
I don't think Michael Brumback knows this, but he's part of the reason why I play drums.
really.
I mean, I got a drum set early from my dad, and I didn't know what I was doing. And he was playing drums for a thing in middle school. And the way I was sitting, I just happened to be like sitting behind him where I could see what he was doing. And I was fascinated. And I had to learn I got serious about drums then. Well, more
That's
serious.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't even remember. There was a buddy of mine that I used to hang out with, and I used to do some video work back in the 80s. And of course, you had the big camcorder, that had the thing on the front and the big microphone that came out. It was like 400 pounds or something. But
it just dawned on me that I've never told him that before. He just
yeah,
said,
it's such a compliment
yeah,
there.
sorry about I should have told you that years ago, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll never forget. It was in, what was her name? Leckleitner, Miss Leckleitner, I think was her name, is in her room. And just watching you, I was blown away. It was like, wow. So there you go. All right.
There you go.
Now you know where this is going already, right?
I do. That's why I
You
said
know what's coming, right? And
if he says that, if he
this is going to
says that
spark
he
the
likes
biggest reaction out of this whole thing. Here we go. Number one, Axl Rose,
Not a
Guns N'
chance.
Roses. He hates Axl Rose.
I have said for the last, I'll bet I've said for the last 15 years, maybe 20, Rick, that he is by far the worst rock and roll lead singer of all time.
He's the best.
No. Can't do it. No, just, his whole thing with, like I said, love the music. Their band, bar none, some of the best musicians I've ever heard. But I just can't stand his vocals at all.
Okay,
I'd
I
let
kind of like
to a cat.
Paul Miller has a caveat here that I would probably agree with. Pre 2000s
Axel
Axel.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, Axel prepubescent maybe. I don't know. Axl Rose sounds like a cat caught in a trash can. I don't know what it is.
But he just the raw, the emotion, the power,
Yeah.
the just the energy that comes from him and the whole band. I mean,
Yeah.
I have never seen Guns N' Roses live. They're my favorite band. Never seen them live. I don't know if I'd want to see them now because I feel like it might ruin it. I mean,
Really?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Every time I tried to see them, something happened that prevented me from seeing them, and
I don't know, man. My number one is Miljenko, whatever his name is. He was my number one, but oh no. Paul, you do not. They ruined AC/DC for me. They hired freaking Axl Rose. Good Lord. I'd have taken.
But so many people talked about how good he did. You don't think he's good? See, I don't like AC/DC either. See, and this is part of the conversation that kind of sparked this was, I think we started out by me saying that I don't like AC/DC.
I don't see how you can't love AC/DC. You know, what?
Trent, you can stick with whatever you want. Who do you have? Someone you want to throw in there?
I'll tell you, Trent. One of the better honorable mentions, in my opinion, who I felt like was a little bit harder was what's his name, Mark Torine from Bullet Boys. That guy could hit. No. You ever listen to Bullet Boys?
No, I never heard of them.
Oh my gosh, dude!
They're from the 80s.
Yeah. Well, they might have been early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I can't really remember, but he had a vocal range. I'm going to tell you something that was just, I think he could hit notes that I don't think anybody else could.
Okay. Trent says Queen. And I got, see.
Sure.
I struggled with that because I almost put Freddie Mercury on here. And it's not, I didn't because of genre. This is the only reason why I didn't.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's the only reason why I wouldn't put him on there.
If I was just doing all-time best vocalists, he would easily be top 3, if not higher.
I agree. I would agree 100%. We were sticking with more of the 80s, big hair, rock. I mean, bar none, Freddie Mercury to me is smooth up in you, buddy. Yes.
Wait, is that Bullet Boys?
Yes.
I know that song.
Yeah.
I guess I just didn't know.
Yeah. They did Money, the song Money or Love of Money or something like that, I think. Didn't they do that one? Yeah. You know who was the band that sang Roller Coaster?
I have no idea. We're talking about the
Roller
Coaster. Oh.
Yeah, the OJs. The OJs sang, they did the song Money or Love of Money or Love for Money or something like that. And then the Bullet Boys redid it. Bon is definitely one of my all-time favorite, brother. Bon Scott, incredible vocals. But how close, I'm sorry, now I'm talking to Michael. How close can you get when Bon dies and then this guy shows up at their doorstep and sounds that close to Bon Scott? I mean, holy cow.
There you go. That's the comment of the day right there. He corrected it later and said Axel.
No. Dang it, Michael. I like the guy. I just thought I was going to have a brand new friend out of this. I just can't do it. No, nobody could ever convince me to even listen to the guy. I think I told, no joke, Elton John. Yeah, great too, Trent.
Another good one.
Yeah, I told Alexa, Alexa to never play Guns N' Roses at my house. So if she plays it, I got to throw her out.
Oh man, that's awful, man. That's awful. Jill says Petra. Actually, I like. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name either. The lead singer when they got big, because they've had like
Yep.
4 lead singers.
Yep.
Excellent voice. And talk about range.
Very.
And I mentioned this.
Petra in my sermon Sunday.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree, Jill.
I mentioned this, I think, either last week or the week before, but there's a song, there's a band called Head East. A lot of people don't know who they are. They had their big hit. They're like a one-hit wonder. Their big hit was called "Never Been Any Reason." There's never been any reason for you to think about me. Well, there's 2 voices on that, and one of those voices is the lead singer of Petra.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, they got real lucky with Brian Johnson. Amen, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Steve Perry. Yeah.
Fantastic voice as well.
He wasn't really hair, though. Yeah, he wasn't metal.
Yeah, I like Steve Perry. I like some of his solo stuff too.
Me too. Yeah, I do. Yeah. There's just so many of them out there. I mean, we could do like 100 honorable mentions.
I know, right? This is one that almost made my list as well.
Oh, yeah. Cinderella, Tom Kiefer.
Kiefer, Cinderella.
Yeah, he was great.
Another amazing voice. Another band I wasn't huge into, but.
Well, and I was a huge Rat fan, and I can't remember that guy's name for the life of me.
I don't think I ever knew his name, but I like their music.
Yeah, and man, he was incredible. See, Brian, if Brian was able to be with us, he'd know all these guys off the top of his daggone head.
Right.
I'm too old, smoke too much other stuff to remember all this. See, he stayed clean. That was his. He got lucky and stayed clean. The rest of us, got really deep into it.
Oh, Michael Brumback to the rescue again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, just to me, let me ask you this, Rick. To be honest with you, I mean, I like a lot of the newer music. I do. I mean, I'm always into new music. I'll listen to just about anything other than country. And I love it. I love all this stuff. But man, there was just something about the feeling back then. And maybe it's just because I'm an old man now. I don't know. But I just have so much more. There's just, and even rap back then. Rap back then.
Oh, agree.
Better than the rap today. Yeah,
100% agree.
You had pages and pages of lyrics in rap back then. They got 3 lines and they just repeat themselves.
I 100% agree. I'd much rather listen to rap it's the same with every genre of music, really. Anything from back. Really, my favorite music is 70s rock. That's where Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones.
John Bonham, brother. How great of a drummer was John Bonham?
Absolutely. One of the best, for sure.
I agree. I mean, When the Levee Breaks, to me, is one of the coolest. I don't care how many times you've heard it, how many times you listen to it. It's just the coolest riff.
Yep.
And drum beat, and just, gosh, it just sinks in. It's cool.
Yep. The thing that amazes me about him is you have there's so much going on in their songs, and there'll be like these different kind of meters going at the same time. Like if you listen to like Kashmir, it's got this real steady, hard 4/4, boom, bap, boom, bap. Well, everything else in the song was playing like a 3/4 kind of beat, Yep.
And it like just a swing.
Yeah, and it just has this awesome mesh together. But man, that's just hard for me to play, because I'm very much a feel drummer. I play what I feel, and you got all these other instruments doing something else. But here he is keeping that hard beat just going, and it's so simple, but it's so hard.
Oh yeah, I'm with you, because I learned how to play at church. How to play drums in church. So you didn't play off tempo. You didn't play an off beat. You didn't do any of that. You stayed on beat, and you just played 4/4 or cut time or whatever it was, and you stayed on it.
Yeah, and I agree here what Paul Miller says too. The production experimentation for Bonham's Tone. Yeah,
when they did it in that hall, didn't they do it in that hall where they were dropping stuff? like mics over the stairs and stuff. I mean, just
I don't remember what album it was. There's one album I was reading where they literally had one mic near his snare to pick up the snare a little better, and one over his right shoulder, like just facing the drum set, and that was it.
Yep, that was it.
And yeah, and looking back on it now, someone who wasn't around during that time, looking back, it's like, well, yeah, so what? But at the time, it was genre defining. I mean,
oh yeah,
what that whole band did was just amazing. But,
well, and they were using like a repeater of some sort on that one drum beat, and it was like, I mean, they were doing stuff that nobody had even thought of doing. I don't know. I mean, that's why I agree with you. Led Zeppelin to me, and even Lynyrd Skynyrd. And
Skinner's another one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, I mean, they just had a feel to them that was, you just can't get anymore. You just can't get it. In my opinion, I can't get it anymore.
I do not know. I don't know how they make they basically have 3 lead guitar players.
Yep.
And they make it sound so tight. And it's amazing. It blows. And the more, I'm learning how to play guitar now. I've been playing guitar for the last 2 or 3 years. And the more I'm learning about guitar, the more amazed by Lynyrd Skynyrd I am. I mean, they blow me away. I'm going to read the rest of this comment because it clips off. It says, I used a 3 mic technique like that. 1 on the kick, 2 overhead facing the snare, equidistant from each other. It gives a great dry brick house sort of vibe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that. I believe that. It's, to me, it's a thing to where when you get these musicians, and we've been around musicians, like you and I have played drums. I don't know how long you've been playing, but I've been playing for 20 some years, and I don't think I've gotten any better in 20 years. Does that say something bad about me? And I'm so impressed with, like even you, Rick, that you can turn around and learn how to play the guitar. Shoot, dude, I tried to play the guitar. I ain't got the patience for it. I got to be hitting something or moving fast. It's kind of like I can't bobber fish. I got to fly fish. I got to keep moving. And,
right.
So it's like, I just have so much respect for people that can do that. And then to see some of these guys that I'm huge into even the local scene. And because when I was playing in bands, we went all through Broad Ripple and played at, Land Sharks and Peppers and all these places that was, we just had such a great time. And some of these great musicians, I mean, that were blowing my mind, guys from like Fortville, Indiana, and there was these band out of Osgood, Indiana they ended up signing a record deal. I mean, some of these guys were just blowing my mind with what they could do. And, but then you go to the level of like, John Bonham and Slash and these guys. Right. I mean, that's like, it goes from here to here and I'm still down here somewhere.
Me too, man. Me too. Yeah. I started playing guitar. I got my first drum set when I was 8, so I've played since I was 8. I didn't take it real seriously. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any lessons or anything. I just tried to mock what I saw. And then, like I said, I saw Michael Brumback play one time. I was like, man, I want to be more like him. And I actually started learning by watching Rick Allen. And I know that sounds weird because he has one arm.
But still incredible beats, man. Dude had this incredible beat.
Yeah. And it's so I started playing more. I started just playing whatever I get my hands on, I guess. I'd just go in the basement and crank up stereo and just try to play along. And then when I was 15, I moved to Texas for a year. And when we were signing me up for school, they talked about they had this jazz band, that it was actually a class. Most schools here, it's like an extracurricular activity, but there was actually a class.
Right.
And And it happened to be when I had a hole in my schedule, and I kind of got talked into it. So I was like, well, I'll sign up for this and play and go as a drummer. There were 7 drummers in that band, and I was easily number 7. I mean, it wasn't even remotely close. It went like 1, 2 up at the top. They were real good. And then there was, you drop a lot, and then there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you drop a lot more, and there's me. and I mean, the first day of class, the band director hands out music. They'd never seen this music before. They hand out brand new music, and they play it like they've been playing it for 20 years. I was blown. There were so many good musicians in that class. It was amazing. And I went up the second day of class before class started. I went up. His name was Mr. Van Winkle. I will never forget him because I owe a lot to him. I walked up to him and I said, Mr. Van Winkle, I don't think I belong in this class. Everybody else is way better than me. I really have no business being in here. And he goes, okay, well, go back over there with the drummers. I was like, okay, no. What I'm saying is,
You didn't hear me.
Yeah, you didn't hear me. What I'm, I can't just pick up music and play it. So maybe this really isn't for me. And he goes, okay, go back over there with the other drummers. I was like, no, Mr. Van Winkle, you're not paying attention. What I'm trying to say is, and he turned and he looked at me and he gave me this stern look, and he was a super nice guy. He never got mad at anything. He gave me this really stern look and he said, if you're telling me you're quitting, no, go over there and sit with the other drummers. And I was like, okay then. And the top drummer in there, his name was Kurt Sonnenberg, and he was a fan. He was in a band that toured as a senior in high school. They had an album out, and this is before you can just put out an album easily. I mean, they had like a studio they recorded in. I mean, it was like big time. They were really good. They played all over Texas, and hope I'm not conflating that more than it is, but I don't think so. But anyway, he was amazing, and he would just give me little tips. He didn't push, and I would go in there. That was the first period class of the day, and I would go in early, and I would just sit behind the drum set and just play, and I would try to play what we were playing in the band or whatever. And I watched him. He helped me, and I just kept getting a little better. Well, then over Christmas, right before Christmas break, the band director says, I've decided we have too many drummers. We're going to cut down to 3. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I just started liking this. I just now feel comfortable, and now you're going to cut me. So he decides we're going to have this tryout. And he says we're going to have to play 3 pieces of music. There are 2 songs that we already could play. One was a Latin song, so we played a lot of Latin music. So we had to play a Latin song. The other was a traditional, like 4/4 rock beat kind of song. And then the other one was going to be a song we didn't know. We were going to be handed the music and play. And like, well, I'm out. I can't read music. I'm done. I mean, I could, if I sat and looked like, okay, well, that's blah, 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 but I can't just pick up a music and just start playing it. Right. So I'm last because I'm 7th chair drummer, and it went in order. And they went in this drum room, and there's this little window that you could see in, and there's 6 of us like trying to look in while Kurt went first. And so we hear him play the first 2 songs, which we already knew. And then he gets to the last one, and the band director hands him the music, and his eyes get like this big. And he turns around and looks through the window, and he goes, and we're like, oh man, if he can't play it, we're screwed. And so he tries to play, and then he goes. So then we don't pay attention to the other drummers because who cares? We just want to know what Kurt did. So they go through the 6, and now it's my turn. So I go in. I've been practicing the 2 songs that I know we're going to have. So I go in and play them decently. We get to the last song, and he hands it to me. It's in like 12/9 time, and it has markings on it I've never seen before or since. I mean, I don't know where he pulled this piece of music out of, but it was awful. And it wasn't just a straight beat at all. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I can't describe it. So I kind of look at it, and I kind of start to play, but then I stop and he goes, "Is there a problem?" And I said, "Well, can you at least give me a beat? Like, can you like kind of be my metronome?" And he goes, "Yeah, I can do that." So he starts and I play, I try as hard as I can to play. And I get about halfway through and he stops me and I'm like, "Oh, great. He's just going to cut me right now. He's not going to let me finish." And he stopped me and he looked at me in the eye and he goes, "You're going to be drummer number 3. And I'm going to tell you why. Besides Kirk, you are the only drummer who tried to play this. Everyone else looked at it and said, I can't play this,' and just didn't and chose not to play it. You're the only one you're the only one besides Kirk who attempted."
That's cool, man.
I know. I mean, I get chills thinking about it now. And obviously that was his test, was to see if you were going to try. And I've always remembered that. And from that point on, the other 2 drummers were seniors and I was a sophomore, and they got really bad senioritis and they were pretty much gone the second semester. I played everything with the band after that. And Kirk would help me at first. You know, he'd be like, "Okay, here, I'm going to play it. I'm going to show you how to play it." And then you just kind of copy me or whatever. And it was just such a great experience. And then when I came back here, I just kept going. I kept learning from whatever drummers I could learn from and just tried to get a little better every time I play.
Wow.
But yeah, that's my drum story.
Man, dude, you know what I would have done? No joke. I know what I'm sitting here listening to the story. I was thinking I would have just asked him, looked at it, and then played Wipeout. I'd have done something because it's like, I can't play this. I ain't even gonna try. So what did Michael say before that? I didn't get to see the comment before this.
Yeah, I was going to go back to that. He said, "I always consider myself a drummer, but I play guitar and sing too. After 20 plus years, you have to, if you want, if you want to write." And then he said, "I still keep sticks in the truck door everywhere I go, you know, just in case. I keep my sticks. I have a pair of sticks I keep in my backpack all the time. Same thing, just in case." Yep.
I never do. Of course, I don't get to play like you guys do, you know, because obviously now that, you know, I'm full-time and a pastor, it's kind of, you don't get to play as much when I was playing for the church or when I was, you know, hanging out with the band or whatever. And then we've got some really good drummers like Rick who comes over and drums for us. So I don't get to play as often. So, but man, this has been a blast.
Yeah, this is fun. I really enjoy doing this. And this is, you know, so many people ask me, you know, why are you doing this live thing? And what do you, like, you know, what's your goal? And I don't have a goal. Honestly, I did this. I started this because Tyson Priest and I do a podcast together. We hadn't recorded an episode, so we decided, we'll just go on Facebook Live and we'll just do it live. So every time I say that, I think of Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. I don't know if you've seen that video. But anyway, and I went on in the afternoon before we were going to do it live, and just to test, I just loaded up the software. I'm like, I'm just going to go on my page and live. And I expected to try it for like 5 minutes just to test out all the things. And people started coming on and we were chatting. And Paul Miller, that his comments up there, he jumped on with me for a minute, talking about like our home studios we have and stuff. And I had so much fun. I'm like, you know, I'm going to do this again and see how it goes. So I scheduled one and did it, and it was a blast. I'm like, that's it. Yeah. I'm doing it every week. And I don't like doing it in the afternoon because I'm afraid that I'm missing out on a lot of people who would like it. But I'm afraid of doing it in the evening because once football season starts, I'm not going to be able to be very consistent about it. This is a time of the day when I can be consistent and always do it. So this is why I chose this time.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen.
You know, one of the things. So this is on Facebook Live. Then is that what it is?
It's on Facebook Live and it's on YouTube Live too.
Oh, sweet! Now, are you using a certain program? Are you using like OSB or something like that, or OBS? OSB is plywood.
Yeah. I started out with I got to remember what the name of it is now. It's BeLive.tv. And it was good. It was the easiest to do the guest thing like we're doing now.
Right.
but it was very limited in what I could show. It was very limited in where I could stream. You could only stream one place at one time. Um, I wanted to stream to YouTube too, and I wanted to stream. This streams on my Rick Brown Live page I made, and also streams on my personal account. And I wanted to make it. I want to make it where it's easy to send it wherever I want to send it, and Be Live just wasn't that. So then I found there's this Restream.io is what I'm using now, and it basically is a back end program, and it's meant to be used with other software like OBS.
Okay.
And I started using OBS I started to try to use it, but doing it with guests was a pain.
Really?
There's not really an easy way to do it, although I think it's getting a little bit easier than when I first looked at it, because I heard some things get released for it, but I don't know. I haven't tried it. Well, at that time, this Restream that's supposed to be back end came out with their own front end to do what we're doing. So that's what I'm using now, is just Restream.io. And
is it a free service or is it a pay?
No, it costs, and it's not cheap.
Well, we're trying to do that prayer thing, and I need to be able to hook up with Jimmy in Cincinnati, Ohio. And so I was, trying to use OBS the other night just to learn some from it, but I don't know if it's going to work or not. So we'll see.
Yeah, it is way powerful. I mean, it will do. I would like to get to the point where I can use it, because there's some things one of the things, if you notice at the beginning, I play like that pre-roll, and then there's like this little like logo sting that plays, and then I would like for a little like theme song to play, but I can't play music in this directly. So that's a little weird. But if I was using OBS, I could.
Yeah, because they talk about how you can add logos, you can add.
Oh, you can add anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very open and very powerful. I mean, there are so many things you do. Like now, I do this little workaround to play my little pre-roll video. I just load my pre-roll video in a Chrome browser, and then tell this software to share my Chrome screen, which is kind of a little wonky. But in OBS, I could just play the video directly, and it's not a problem.
Wow.
So
I need to hang out with you a little bit on the private side of this and see if I can learn some stuff from you, because I got to try to get this done a little bit better, brother. I'll tell you. And you got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, does it tell you how many people were watching or are watching?
There are 10 people watching right now, but there have been, it's gone up and down. When I'm finished, it will give me a report of what the most people that oh, hi, Tina. I just saw it pop up. I didn't, anyway, it'll give me a report at the end. Sorry, my ADHD flared up there for a second. Like, oh, squirrel. But it'll give me a report on like how many people were connected, like how many unique people were connected, what's the most were connected at one time, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. And it also gives me what I like, because I'm a techie guy, and I'm trying to make this as kind of professional as possible, but it'll tell me like how my quality was the, did I drop any frames? Was the network quality good? That kind of thing. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty high tech.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. All right. Real quick. Was it an hour that we're supposed to go, or?
There's no time. I always say it's going to be about 30 or 40 minutes, and it has never once been 30 or 40 minutes yet.
Yeah, I was saying we're way past that.
One went an hour and a half. One was like an hour and 15 minutes. I mean, it's never gone as short as I thought. We even cut. See, that's part of the reason why we did a top 5 instead of a top 10, was because I didn't want it to go as long as possible. And then we've still made a top 5 go over an hour, which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
This is fun for me. I want to do this because it's fun, and it's exciting, and it's a good way to keep kind of connected with people while we're, all the COVID stuff's going on, and
right. Okay. I got a question for you then, because
okay.
I remember back, I forget how long it was. It's been a long time ago. They talked about, what was the worst or the ugliest lead singer? Top 5 ugliest lead singers in the 80s.
Wow. The first person to pop in my head was oh my gosh, from Aerosmith,
Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler. That's the first person to pop in my head.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. First one that popped in my head is Dee Snider.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely top 5.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the only one. I just remembered that back in the day they were talking about like the top 5 or top 10 ugliest lead singers. I think Ronnie James was in that, dude. I gotta be honest with you. I think he was.
Hey, he's not a very attractive dude.
No. If I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There was like so many, and I remember Dee Snider was in it. Ronnie James was in it. Gosh, I can't even think. There were so many. Yeah, old Dee Snider. But I tell you,
That's funny.
what was that big hit he had? Dee
Like,
Snider?
We're Not Gonna Take It, or
Yeah,
I Want to
that's it.
Rock. There's the 2
Yeah.
that I think of. Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Jill said Gene Simmons.
Oh yeah, Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
That's ugly, dude. That's ugly, dude.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you what, he may be ugly, but probably one of the smartest guys out there.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
agree
lot
with
of-
that. Very intelligent dude.
Yep, very. Business wise, I don't know. Not too many that are smarter, I don't think, out there.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Trent Burton said Meatloaf.
No, oh yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
Man, I didn't even think
bet
about
he was on the list.
I didn't even think about Meatloaf as a singer for the other top 5. I don't know if he wouldn't be top 5, and he's not really hair band, I guess, or 80s
Yeah,
hard
he's a
rock.
different
But
Yeah.
yeah,
He's good.
he is good.
Yep, yep.
Weird dude though, really weird dude.
Very, very weird. Yeah, he's definitely not one I would want to be hanging out with. That's for
No.
sure. Well, I'm trying to sit here and think. I wish I could remember all the ones they said. Like, okay, let me ask you one more question.
Yeah.
Worst concert you've ever been to?
Worst concert. Oh man. Man, that's rough. Trying to think.
That many bad ones, or not that many bad ones?
Not that many bad ones. I went to a bunch of concerts when I was young. I mean, a bunch. I mean, I practically
Yeah.
lived at Deer Creek over the summer.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And I was
I
trying
saw
to,
Kiss there. I don't know how many times.
well,
yeah,
if I'd have
see,
gone there, that'd have probably been top of my list.
Do what?
If I'd have been there for those, that'd have probably been the top of my list.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I forgot you don't like Kiss.
I was surprised we didn't get into that on our list.
I
Talking about-
know, no doubt.
I'm not. I just think they're all flash and listen. Paul Miller said something about having meatloaf for dinner. That's funny.
Yeah.
Michael Burns. Steve Miller really was bad. I've never seen Steve Miller live, but I like Steve Miller a lot.
Really?
That surprises me.
That
What made it
surprises
so-
me.
What made it so bad? I'm
wonder if
curious.
It was like the audio quality, or was it just they were all drunk?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Suspecting is
Yeah,
good
oh,
to
yeah,
say,
I
but new
believe
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah. The worst
That's always
one
Go
I
ahead.
went to. The worst one I went to was I went and saw. What's the guy's name? Or what's the band that? I'm sitting here blanking now. All of a sudden. Oh shoot! I can't even think of what their names were. Nickelback. I went
Oh.
and saw a Nickelback.
That's your
concert.
fault for going to a Nickelback concert.
It was the worst concert I ever been to. I mean,
Really?
the guy talked for like 45 straight minutes.
You know,
It's like,
Yeah,
dude,
I've heard
shut
someone
up
else say
or
that.
what? Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. How could he not?
Yeah.
And I think one of the best ones, though, was the Sick Puppies opened up for Nickelback. They were 10 times better. I'd go
Really?
listen to them over Nickelback. And I like Nickelback's music, even though it's like all the same.
Candlebox. Candlebox is
Oh,
probably the
yeah.
worst band I've seen live.
Really? That surprises me too. I like
I
Candlebox.
know I liked them too, and I was really disappointed. But now I'm gonna. I gotta say, you gotta read that comment.
What?
Michael Romack. Now I don't feel bad for picking Axel Nickelback with a question mark.
Hey, I didn't say I liked him. I just said I went to the freaking concert. I got free tickets, bro. And I said it
Michael
was
wins
the
the
worst
prize
one
for the
ever.
best comment.
Yeah.
Yes, see, I was surprised too. I went. They opened. Now I'm going to give them a little bit of defense here because um, they. I was going. This is when I lived in Oregon, and um, I was going to see Suicidal Tendencies, Alice in Chains,
Oh,
and Metallica. And yeah, I was like, Alice in Chains is my favorite of that
Man in
era.
the Box, baby.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a great song.
fantastic
Love.
band. And um, well, this is during Lane Staley's drug
Oh,
issues, and
yeah,
right
yeah.
before the concert happened, he went into rehab. And so at the last minute, they got Candlebox to fill in. So I mean, it was just kind of like a uh, they were the last minute fill in. Maybe they didn't have their stuff quite together, or I
Right.
don't know. I mean, I don't know the inner workings of that. Like, is a band like that just always ready to go, or just like, yeah, we'll just go play, and then they, kick back
Oh,
a
what the
few and just
heck?
played. I don't know how that works.
I ain't got nothing going on a Thursday night. What the heck?
Yeah, exactly. And again, this was at an outdoor concert. It was at a horse track, and it was like 105 degrees. And I mean, they're like hosing down. There's no seats. It's just in a big field, and they're hosing down the crowd with a fire hose because people are passing out
Yeah.
left and right.
Oh
Um,
man.
I wonder if that was the same. Paul Miller said he went to see Metallica with
Yeah, I
Suicidal
saw
Tendencies at
that.
Danzig. I wonder if that was the
Dude,
same.
Danzig? How many people know Danzig? That's a great obscure band in my opinion.
I know Danzig.
Yeah. Mother.
Mother, tell your
That's
children not to walk my way. um,
awesome.
I was in a band in high school with a guy who just he loved Danzig. Like that was all he listened to.
No kid.
Yeah,
Now wait a minute.
like annoyingly so.
Nobody, we're getting into these a lot heavier bands. Now see, that was more me because I was really big into like Slayer and I mean 9 Inch Nails even. That's I'm a man of the underground. You don't get too many people who know Danzig, that's for sure. But yeah, that was me. I loved the heavier and the darker the better. Just before it got too crazy,
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I don't know who Wrathchild America or Souls at Zero is.
I've heard of Souls at Zero. I've never heard of Wrathchild America. I'm gonna check them out. Yeah, I'm gonna check them out.
Paul, when was that? When was that Metallica concert? Was it during like the Black Album tour? Because that was when I saw them. What it should have been Suicidal Tendencies and Alice in Chains.
Well,
I wonder if Danzig was like the replacement for Alice in Chains, like further on.
Yeah, Danzig wasn't around. I don't think after or prior to that. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, I might have been around, but they weren't that big.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see what he says. So did you say? Oh yeah, you did. You said Nickelback. I love the Candlebox show. I can't really think of a time I just absolutely hated a concert. What was your best concert?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, my best. I'm going to tell you, and you're not going to like it. That's for sure. Probably one of my favorite concerts. That would have
been the same. That's the same tour.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Best concert.
Best concert, the best one I've ever gone to. Now, are we talking like big shows? Because now we're going to exclude like local stuff because
no, you can include local. You can do whatever you want.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm going to give you two, and one of mine is going to really surprise you.
Yeah, local wise, I'm not kidding. There's a band called Danny Isaac's band. It's probably one of my favorite people to go watch. These guys are just incredible. He's an incredible guitar player and singer, and nobody knows him. He's just a local guy, but that's probably I love to go see his shows. His shows are so cool. They're a lot of fun.
My wife commented, and it's my same answer. Best concert ever. Rush.
Yeah, Rush.
It was
Kiss is one of mine, brother. I just got to be honest. I love Kiss. I did, and that was just because my brothers were all into it. So it was just one of those things where I loved, going to Kiss concerts. I've been to 4 of them, 5 of them, and makeup, without makeup, and I just love watching them play. I mean, that was just kind of they were my favorite band to watch.
Paul said Wrath All America and Soldier are the same band.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they got hosed by a label and had to change names.
Oh, well, then I do know them.
It gets cut off. It says the drummer Shannon Larkin ended up in Disturbed.
Oh, no joke.
Yeah.
I love Disturbed.
So my really, really close second best concert ever, Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. I've never been. Everybody, the Hendersons go, I think, every year to one of those, and they just love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played what?
I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna read this because it cut off. Because he played he's referring to Tom Petty. That's what he said his best concert was. That's another person I regret never seeing live. Says he played an hour after House Ordinance at Deer Creek one summer. That's funny. I think everybody does that at one point. Anyway, said played all his hits, then played covers for an hour. He was feeling great, and the band was just awesome. I really miss Tom Petty. Yeah, me too. Yeah, Trip Burn. Yeah, you got to go sometime, man. It's such a band. It's a whole show. It's not just the music, even though the music is amazing, but it's the whole show. I mean, you're entertained from beginning to end. This is going to be so weird because I love music. I don't like going to concerts. I like it even less now that I'm older than I did.
Same.
I just. One is I'm a doer and not a watcher. I'm the whole time I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I wish I was up there playing.
Yeah.
And I get bored pretty easy, and so I don't go to very many concerts at all anymore. But
that's why I like local. I like local stuff better because I don't have to fight the crowds. I don't have to pay a bunch of money.
Yeah. That's the other thing. They're so stinking expensive.
Yeah. I'll tell you one of the other great concerts I went to. I got to go see Ozzy Osbourne. That was probably one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah. And he played a ton of Black Sabbath stuff, and I mean, oh my gosh, dude, that just I'm not lawn material. No joke, Michael. I mean, it just who wants to sit out there in the sun and bake and pay $35 for a drink? I don't know. It's just not my scene. I'd rather just go to someplace local and actually have the music so loud it beats through your chest.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm old and getting deaf, so.
Right, me too.
Yeah. That was probably one of the best concerts, and it was so funny I didn't even pay for that concert. We used to farm the ground that butted up against Deer Creek, and it was before they put the fence up. And so what we did was we'd farm that ground and then just pull the guar. No joke. That's cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I like this Paul guy. He knows some pretty heavy guy. That's awesome.
He's a good dude.
And so I just pulled up, and it was at the end of the day, and I just sat on the hood of that tractor and listened to Ozzy Osbourne. Probably one of the better concerts that I didn't pay for that I got to go to.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to Guar, speaking of Paul Miller?
A little bit.
Yeah?
But I blame Beavis and Butthead on that.
Oh, yeah. I like Guar a lot.
Oh, me too, Trent. I don't like lawn, and I'm not going to fight for a seat. That was the one bad thing about that Metallica concert I was talking about was it's just everybody pushing forward. I mean, it's 105 degrees out.
Yeah.
And everybody's like all shoved together, and yeah, that part was not good. No. But the Metallica part of the show was great. Candlebox not so much.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, I'm gonna have to. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I bet. That's funny.
Yeah, I've heard they get messy. I've never been to a Guar show. I've listened to them for years, but that'd be cool to go to. Of course, I'm a big Slipknot fan too. I like Slipknot. I guess I should say I like a little older Slipknot and some of this new stuff that they're doing. I'm not a big fan. This latest album I wasn't very keen on. I was like, I'm not digging it. I don't know what they were doing or if they just lost their edge. I don't know what they were doing. It was really weird. I was like, it just didn't go well for me. I love, Slipknot. I like their music but I don't know. And I'm also, have you ever listened to, 46 and 2? What's the band that 46 and 2? They also did the song The Pot.
No, I don't think I know that one.
Really?
Maybe if I'm, as we've already discovered, I'm not very good with like names and.
Yeah, it's Danny Carey is the drummer.
I don't know who that is either.
No,
He's a loser.
Maynard is the lead singer. What the heck is the name of that band? It's gonna drive me crazy. They're kind of wacko, but they're really good. And he's got two bands actually. He sings for two bands. Tool, thank you, brother. Tool. And then
I know who that guy is though. I don't know the members.
Meredith was a song or something like that he played that Maynard has his other band. Perfect Circle. I think it's called Perfect Circle, Paul. I don't know if that rings a bell or not. You probably already knew that. Sounds like you know a lot more than I do. Man,
he is a very knowledgeable fellow.
Yeah, that's a great band if you ever get a chance to listen to Tool. I don't know if you listen to them much, but those guys are their musicianship is whew, bar none, some of the best I've ever heard. Very, very, and especially Danny Carey. If you haven't listened to him drum, that guy's incredible.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he knows a lot there. Perfect Circle. Judith is the name of that song, isn't it? Judith, the Perfect Circle, big hit. I've never heard of that other one, Pussifier. I never heard of that.
Me neither.
Or Pussifier. I don't know. That must be. I wonder if Maynard sings in that one too. That's what he's saying? Is that what he's saying? I'm gonna look that up. Oh yeah, he does. I'll be darned. Look at that. Oh yeah, he's a talented fellow. Yeah. Well, Rick, I've had a great time, brother.
Hey, me too. I'm really glad we could do this.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll have to do it again sometime. What do you got?
Oh yeah, let's get Brian in on
it. Yeah. What do you got going on at Brightpoint this week? Anything exciting?
Right now, I'm trying to do all this editing. I've been editing since about 8 o'clock this morning.
You're streaming this week. When do you know when you're going back live or
next Sunday?
Next Sunday.
Yeah, not this coming Sunday, but June 7th. Yeah, June 7th. We're going to be back.
For those who don't know you, do you want to talk about where your church is and?
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Sure. Heck yeah, I'll take that.
After we talked about all this devil music, now invite everybody to your church.
My dad would say that, yes. Yeah, for those that don't know, I'm the pastor at Brightpoint Church in Markleville, Indiana, little town of Markleville. We have service at 10 a.m. on Sunday, starting not this coming Sunday, but next Sunday. And we obviously, Rick plays, he understands and knows, we're just really laid back. I'm obviously laid back. I mean, look at the size of the beard, and I wear shorts when I preach. It's something I've always wanted to do as a pastor, to do something that was not so churchy, but just, get people to understand that we can have a good time and still have a relationship with the Lord. And so I appreciate that. Go ahead.
The first week I played at your church, after practice, I asked them if it was okay if I wore shorts on Sunday, and everybody laughed. And then,
like, yeah, the pastor does.
but I still felt weird about it.
Yeah.
But I did go ahead and wear shorts Sunday, but they were kind of nicer shorts, and I had like kind of a golf shirt on. I don't want to offend anybody. Like, oh my gosh, look at this guy coming in playing drums. And then here you walk in, you've got these like cut off shorts on, and your flip flops, and you're walking like, I think I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I went full time about a month ago, and I went ahead and left my job, kind of retired, and I'm just really going to be trying to do the best I can. We've been visiting a bunch of people. I just want to be involved in people's lives and let them know how much I love them and care for them. And I've spent a lot of my life doing things that I didn't want to do and doing things for other people and for businesses to make them money. And I needed to be doing stuff for the Lord and showing my worth to Him, not to them, because my future's never been with them. It's always been with Him.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my whole thing about being in ministry. And I want to support all these other ministries. We got great, like your church over. I mean, all these great churches around here.
Yeah.
Fall Creek and Pilgrim Creek. There's a lot of great churches in this town.
There are.
And just right next door, Margaretville Christian. John Hackney, just a great guy. These guys are great, loving people, and any more we can do to support and get people involved in something and not show that we're battling each other, the better we're going to be, brother. That's for sure.
For sure.
I appreciate you giving me that.
Hey, no problem. That's,
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to share that. What time your service is going to stream this week? What time does it stream?
Yeah, streams at 10 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Facebook Live and YouTube, yeah.
And then when you go back live the next week, what time are your services?
It'll be
service?
10 a.m. as well.
10 a.m. as well.
10 a.m. as well.
Consistent.
Yeah. And we're going
a consistent time. That's kind of different in church.
I know. Yeah, and I'll tell you, we're going to actually live stream now for here on out. I think we've got a Panasonic PTZ camera we've purchased, and we're going to try to do some actual live streaming to keep people, because we know this COVID thing, and with what people are still experiencing, there's some fear out there. There shouldn't be, in Jesus' name, but there's still some fear out there, and I understand that. I want people to know that we feel and are compassionate about that. So we're still going to live stream, for a while to allow people to hear the message. So
yeah. And I want to respond to Paul real quick with the comment that said, "Thanks for letting me bug y'all." You didn't bug us at all, man. I really appreciate you being here. You added a lot to the conversation. You and Trent and Michael and everyone else who joined in. I just really appreciate it. That's what makes this fun for me. I just love the connection and the people, and it's a really good time. But thank you so much for joining me, Jesse. This was this is great. A really good conversation.
Definitely.
I'll make sure next time I come play drums at your church, I'll come in blasting some Guns N' Roses for you. So
you better. Love
you. Good to see you too, Michael. Hey, we'll see you, Jesse, and thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week at 3:00. Thanks, everyone.
All right.